Hi, welcome everyone here with the Good Volunteer segment in the Foundation of Goodness. Today it's Wednesday and we have one special volunteer here with us who came for the second time, and his name is Freddie Turner. He came back after many years to the Foundation of Goodness, and before I ask him a question about the volunteering, Freddie, welcome here with us, and I want to ask you if you can introduce yourself a bit.
Cool, thank you, good to be here. I'm Freddie Turner. I'm 29 years old from London. I've been living in Dubai for the last 2 years. And I came to the foundation about 12 years ago and have decided to come back and revisit and see what's going on. But great to be here.
Thank you. And when you first came here, how do you came across the Foundation of Goodness at all in the first place?
I have a really good family friend called Anne-Marie Slater, who I grew up very close to. And she very kindly put me in touch with Kushil and spoke about all the good work that was being done. And a friend of mine came out, as I said, about 12 years ago. And yeah, it was all made to happen.
What are the activities that you did 12 years ago? And what was your first experience? Is that this also what made you to come for the second time to the Foundation of Goodness?
Yeah, so 12 years ago, it was all heavily focused around sport. So we were playing cricket with the children. We helped build a new sports centre and gym. And we're putting together plans for working out and physical fitness. Having come back 12 years later, I can see by the sports centre that a lot's happened since. There's much more people here, and the success stories seem to keep growing, which is fantastic.
So you also see the progress we made in that 12 years. So what do you think is the difference? It's a better experience this time for you because you also get to do something with the preschool kids or speaking English with our other students. So
yeah.
It's a different experience for you now?
Yeah, absolutely. I also didn't get a chance to come and see the preschool, and I'm teaching English, stepping in on some of the business education sessions. Also things like the Female Empowerment Centre. I walked into a class yesterday and they were making handbags, had numerous sewing machines, giving people skills that are actually useful in life is super important and was quite inspiring.
So thank you. Will you recommend the volunteering when you come back to your friends?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in terms of breaking it down into sport and educational purposes, you get a real mix, and I think also having the chance to speak English and educate someone that is trying to learn the language, you can see how effective that is in terms of trying to move on to later life and how useful learning the language can be, and some of these skills that are being provided. Yeah, I'd absolutely recommend it.
So you think, because you also told you lived in Dubai for the few years, so you think the learning English and speaking English is very important things, right? If someone wants to achieve something bigger or travel.
Yeah, I think so, especially considering universal language probably is English. If you're learning tech, I again walked in on one of the IT classes yesterday. They're learning Python, AI, Microsoft Office. All of that is done in the English language, and that is the sort of standard. So it's super important, and having a knowledge of the English language paired with things like AI, Python, and all of these empowerment classes and business classes, I think you've just put your best foot forward in terms of being able to do something great.
Thank you. And I want to ask, what is the feeling or what is the motivation that you get from the volunteering? You told, you can give back to the community at all, but what is the effect on you as a person? If you then feel good that you can contribute to someone who wants to educate themselves or achieve something and you can play part of it, what is the rewarding part for you in the volunteering?
I think for me, traveling down from Colombo to Sinigma, it's super interesting to see the pace of life and what opportunity there is for people versus what opportunity you can see elsewhere in the world, and how eyes can be open to things that they didn't quite know would be out there based on the impact that comes from this education, the good work that the foundation does. and like the lack of exposure to certain things, and being at the foundation, it's just so apparent how so many lives have been changed through sport, through some of the business classes, through education, through learning English, and ultimately playing such a tiny part in that development and eye-opening is extremely satisfying. And yeah, I think there are far more people that have done far better things here, and so having the time to spend here is great.
No, I think the beauty in the volunteering is even the small contribution can play a big part. If someone comes for the 1 day only, 1 week, 1 month, it doesn't play much a difference, because it's about what you can give and what you can get in return. That good feeling and knowing that you helped someone and you did something good. So you said it very nicely, and thank you for that. Thank you for contributing and being part of the Foundation of Goodness and helping uplift the whole community, because like you told, it's very different, the opportunities people can get. You can see back in London, the children have different opportunities than the children here in the rural area in Sri Lanka, right? So thank you for contributing. And you mentioned you did the English, you saw a few classes. What is your best experience so far, if you can take from this time volunteering, even from the last time, if you have some moment, something that stayed in your mind that you remember and you will keep for a long time with you from this volunteering experience?
I mean, it's all been great and very memorable, but it's quite hard to look beyond and ignore some of the preschool kids when you walk in and there's just so much excitement and hyperactivity, reading them books, and at one point having 10 different stories stacked up on each other and people jumping on you and just looking extremely excited. I think that's a memory that will stay with me for a long time.
Thank you. And after you come back your home, do you have some future plans that you want to do and achieve in your life?
Beyond work, I'd actually would like to start my own form of charity someday. My mother is massively into charity and runs a few in the UK, now lives in Bermuda and is setting one up there as we speak. Unfortunately, for the next 10, 20 years, the capacity won't be a sort of a full-time thing, but having spent a little bit of time here, I can see how taking a little bit of extra time to do something can make an enormous impact, and it's something that I would love to put a lot more emphasis on in the next few years.
So that's very good, because you can get the experience here from the charity work in Sri Lanka and also carry it back to your home. And I think it's amazing that the Foundation of Goodness has so many sectors you can contribute, because experience from some other charity organization, they have only preschool or only sports. Here you have so many areas that you can choose. Do you think it's important to cover all and give the opportunity to everyone, who can choose and do some activity they like or get the education on the field they like to work on?
Absolutely. I mean, I think having multiple sectors really helps. I think also it comes from leadership from the top, from Kushil. Like running a charitable organization like a business is just so important. When you look at how many people are trying to help out there and how many of them are really impactful and super successful. Having met some of the sports instructors yesterday, I walked past a swimming class where the foremost Australian swimming coach, who's won 50 gold medals for the Australian national team, was there teaching 10 to 15-year-olds how to swim. That doesn't just happen from having a good idea and really trying for the best. That is from someone working tirelessly and relentlessly to build a charitable organisation using business skills. All the amazing endorsements that come. So you have Ian Botham that makes it the best place to go and do cricket because of all these celebrity and famous endorsements, with all the local cricket team coming as well. You then have many people that come and, the sponsors, you have KPMG, Goldman Sachs, people that are on the wall that have said to donate. The skills that they can pass on, the skills that people that come and can share in their own little fields, means that I guess everyone can be touched, which is which is obviously great.
Yes, you mentioned a few sponsors that we get, and it's very important for us. So it's what we are focusing on also, it's transparency. That you mentioned is important when we have the donors or other visitors. So everyone who contribute, they know what is happening with that, where it is going, what is the progress. We update our donors, which is also a very important part of the Foundation of Goodness. And you mentioned our founder, Kushal Gunasekara, and it's very important. And he is running the foundation like a full time in his life. There is no day of rest for him. And we also tell, and he is telling, it's not a work, it's a passion that keeps you going. It's the mission, that vision you have, and you are motivated by helping the people and uplifting the people. And then many sectors or many these areas are depending on someone. So I thought anyone who doesn't have that kindness or passion to help other people in them, it would be very difficult to do. So how you think it's important to have that kindness, inside, to cultivate the good qualities in this world? You think kindness is playing important role or should play?
I mean, absolutely. You look at Kushil, who you just mentioned, and there's no way that you can get people on board to think in the same way as you and to feel the things that you do without having some emotion and being kind. And that paired with all of his other skills means that, of course, when people meet him and he tells the story, he talks about who he's impacted, who he's helped, he gives the figures on how many lives have been touched, how many centres are opening up. That pure kindness is absolutely infectious, and I think it's quite hard to not listen to him and want to help out. So, I mean, he's just one of many great examples of kindness.
I like you mentioned it's a pure kindness, because I think it's very rare to find, someone who is not doing it with some expectation. You just give because you want to give from your heart. So pure kindness, you said it very, very nicely. So what do you think how can people, except for the volunteering, how can they cultivate the good values inside them? You think, because it's something that they can't learn in the classroom, right? It's something they need to have within themselves. What do you think is the correct way or if there is a correct way to cultivate it and develop more kindness or generosity or compassion? Volunteering is one part. Do you think it plays important role and more people try to do volunteering or to develop the good qualities?
Yeah, I mean, I think using the lens of charitable work and giving back beyond the other raw sense of the term in terms of kindness. One really simple thing is, again, I was at the sports centre yesterday and I was fascinated when I saw a load of old cricket bats that have been broken. I then asked what they do with the cricket bats, and there's a specific room where a couple of people sit there and repair the bats, refurbish them and make them fit for purpose for the kids to go and use. You look at making giving back easy. How many people does someone that lives in the UK know, friends, family, that play at a local cricket club? How many of those players have cricket bats that have been broken? How easy is it to next Sunday request that everyone brings all of their old cricket bats in or old pads? That is something that is a really baseline level where it is super convenient to do something great, and knowing that you have a very black and white and transparent organisation like this means that you can effectively give back in a way that is super impactful, but also not really that inconvenient to anyone's day-to-day life. And the satisfaction of seeing, a photo in a month's time of a cricket team wearing all the kit or using the refurbished bats has to be super satisfying. And so I think it's about finding ways to make it everyday life and easy. Not everyone has the time to come to a trip like I've done and actually take the time to be here. But of course, there are so many other ways to do it. I think it's the awareness, and it takes something like me coming here, to send a message to a friend saying, "Oh, have you thought of this?" Or "Have you heard of the Foundation of Goodness? This is how you can help," without really doing that much work. But your actions will go a super long way.
And you also get different perspective of the life, right? After coming and seeing the community, you can realize that your problems in some other country might be different for the people that have the problems or some issues here, you know, who comes to get the help or education.
Yeah.
So if there is someone listening to us now thinking if they should try to come to the Foundation and Goodness and volunteer, what would you say to them?
I would say get in touch, work out logistics, and if you have the time, just book your flight over. There's accommodation. It's super easy to get everything organised, and you won't regret after a week of spending time here how much of a difference you can make and how much it will change your own life and actually those around you based on what you learn and how you're touched personally. So yeah.
Thank you. That's very good statement. That was perfectly said. And last, I will ask you, because I asked Foundation of Goodness, what is your experience in Sri Lanka in general so far? Because, you know, they say the people in Sri Lanka are very kind and generous all the time. So except for the Foundation of Goodness, what are your opinion traveling or being in Colombo? You know, how is Sri Lanka so far, the Sri Lankan culture? You like the food?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I love the food. I've tried to explore as much of the food as possible. I have always tried to request local food, which some people have laughed at in my face, but it's been delicious. The rain has been quite interesting. I am from the UK, and so I do know what it's like. However, yeah, consistent thunderstorms overhead and jumping out of a tuk-tuk into a 1 meter pool of water is quite interesting. But everyone has been super friendly. Hospitality amazing. Everyone sort of cares for you like you're one of their children, and I'm not surprised based on the people I know in the UK that are from Sri Lanka. It lives up to everything I thought. People are super welcoming. Even just walking through the foundation, you feel super appreciated and loved, which is great.
Do you plan to come again? You know,
Absolutely.
after a few years.
Yeah, I'd like to come back
time?
and do a longer trip. But yeah, absolutely, in the next few years.
So what is the one thing that you say would bring you back to Sri Lanka? If you need to pick up one thing why you will come back, what it would be?
Time permitting, unfortunately, is a factor. But I think I could get a good group of people together. I think it's been great doing it alone. That being said, coming down with a bigger group of people so we could do classes together, we could make more of an impact, we could help with fundraising, donations, and also making your time away from the centre as memorable as possible as well. You know, with all the surfing that there is to do in Hikkaduwa, all the restaurants there are to try, I think making a bigger trip of it with more people would be amazing. And you know, based on my experience and what I will tell them, hopefully that's an easy task.
Do you have a favorite place in Sri Lanka?
I enjoyed Gaul. I spent a little bit of time in Gaul. To be honest, I love Hikkaduwa, just cruising down by the beach. It's super chilled. I'm from an area that's extremely unchilled, and just the pace of life is quite admirable, and you notice yourself feeling much more relaxed, much more welcoming to having conversations with people that you don't know, and just it's a great way of life down here.
Thank you. So thank you for your very nice interview with you. I know it was your first time being interviewed, right, for you. So thank you for all your answers. It was lovely to meet you here and be able to speak with you. I appreciate your time and thank you for the volunteering. It was really meaningful and impactful, and we hope to welcome you back again, even with the bigger group, how you mentioned. It would be really nice. So thank you very much, Freddie.
Thank you very much.